Hello, my name is Cathal Minouge and we're here at the iconic Rock of Cashel, all with thanks to winahouse.ie. Today, I'm joined by one of Tipperary's finest. He has won All-Ireland medal, 5 Munster medals, a National Hurling League, 2 All-Stars, and he's Ballynahinch's most loved son. It's Shane McGrath. Shane, good man, welcome to Cashel.
Great to be here, lad. Great to be
Yeah, I
here.
suppose the reason we are here is all because of the win a house draw. You could win a fabulous house now in this beautiful town.
And I'd rather win it nowhere else.
Yeah.
Barbados or anywhere. It'd have to be Cashel, yeah.
But have you any experience of Cashel? Have you had any nights out in Cashel?
We've had a couple of nights out down in Pat Fox's establishment there. And I suppose what happens on tour stays on tour, I suppose is the best way of putting that. But no, we have, and sure. We'd been down around, maybe out around Borland playing a good few club games when they weren't going as well, and
Yeah.
but they're much better than we are now. But sure, look, some great characters down here. You know, Cathal has the coffee shop here as well, so we'd often call down there. So yeah, sure, Tip is just so long, isn't it? It's hard to keep everyone together. Like,
This could be your holiday home if you won the house.
yeah, why not? Yeah, and throw in a bit of sunshine. I'm sure there's a pool there as well, is there?
I think there might be talks of a pool being built. Yeah.
We're fine then. Yeah. Swimming pool. Yeah, the kids love the pool. So
You're a pundit now. For the last while, you're a pundit.
Yeah.
How do you find that?
I absolutely love it, yeah. I love going to the games, and I suppose when you step away from the inter-county thing and you see yourself there on the days of the media, it does keep that bit of a buzz for you for the bigger days. Like, and sure, I'm so lucky, like I get to go to All-Ireland hurling finals, talk about something I love, sit in the best seat in the house even, and even there a few years ago, like Micheál Hurty was behind me before he maybe got too shook, and he just came down and signed the programme for me, wished me well, commentating the All-Ireland final, and I have that programme at home, and like to be able to do things like that, it's just brilliant, like, doing something you love, so it doesn't really feel like a job or a work or anything like that, Cathal, like, so I love doing it. The other side of it then, I suppose, is it was hard maybe the first couple of years of doing it, because I suppose a lot of my good friends were still maybe playing, and it's hard maybe, saying things that you don't want to say, but at the end of the day, you're asked to give your honest opinion. That's why people asked you to do the job in the first place. So that's getting easier now because I'm getting older, and the lads I hurled with are nearly all gone. Noel is still hanging in there. So, but other than that, it's brilliant. I absolutely love doing it.
Yeah, is that difficult? Especially when Tipperary mightn't be going so well the last couple of years. Was it difficult sometimes having to? Yeah.
It is, like, especially when you talk about your own, like, and just because Limerick had been so dominant, I suppose, we've always just found it hard, and the way we're going now and the competition that's in there at the moment, it's phenomenal to see, like, and the younger lads coming through. And look, Tipperary are never going to be far away from anything. Hurling is everything here, like, and it's number one, no more so than rugby is in New Zealand. That's what hurling is to people in Tipperary. And I didn't realise how much it meant to people until I actually stopped hurling with Tip.
Really?
Because when you're in that bubble as a player, you're just in and you're going training, and you're nearly coming away after the games and just maybe going out with the lads or just going straight home. But everywhere I go now, like, if people want to chat to you, and it's always about how Tipper won. And it's unreal, like, what it means to people. Good, bad or indifferent how the team are going, it'll still be the number one topic of conversation is the Tip hurling team. And that's, like, we've great sports people in Tip. Football, camogie, ladies football, rugby players, handballers. But hurling will always be number one, and I think everyone knows that. But I suppose I did find it hard maybe talking about some of the lads if things weren't going well. But again, you give your honest opinion, and, like, at the end of the day, from being a player myself, you're not going to slate anybody if you don't need to be. And I think players appreciate that as well. Everyone goes out to do their best. Some days it doesn't work out, some days it does. And sure, the days it does, then you just love talking about it. You love talking about how Tip are going.
Because, as you said, you're in a bubble anyway, so a lot of it, you probably, as a player, you don't really take much heed in what is being spoken about, do you? I know different players have different. Some people like to seek it out nearly. Seeing Joe Canning, this quote from his book, saying that he actually liked to see like the Gerlach Lane columns. It drove him on, if they were slagging Galway or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what were you like? Were you waiting to see what they'd say in the papers? Are you too good? They never said anything bad about you.
Jeez, they did, often. Like, it depended how you were going, I suppose. If you went fairly well, you wouldn't mind typing the name into the search bar and see what's been said about you. But
what star rating did you
get? The days it didn't go well, I think no matter how much you try to hide away from it, or if you delete social media and you do all that, which a lot of inter-county lads seems to do nowadays.
Yeah.
You're just going to hear about it because, as I said, like, it's the main topic of conversation in this county. So good, bad or indifferent, you're going to hear it back, like, whether you're going well or not. Like, and you mightn't like it all the time, but as I said, the best guys seem to use it as motivation, the likes of Joe and them lads. And I'm sure stuff has been said about Paddy, Maher down through the years, or our own, or all these guys who are absolute legends, like, and I'm sure that they're just so driven that they probably use it as motivation. But you know what? We're all human at the end of the day, and like, whether you're 9 or 90, someone says something bad about you, you know, it is going to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And it's how you react to that, I suppose, is the thing. Like, you know, so I had some very, very bad days, and I suppose nearly some of the worst days I had was actually the year I was captain, and I probably put too much pressure on myself and was nearly worried more about everyone else rather than myself.
What year was it? Was it 2013?
2013, yeah. And it just didn't play well at all, really.
Did it suit you, the captaincy?
No, it didn't. No. And I just felt maybe I was maybe more worried about everyone else rather than myself. And the following year, actually, I started living with Brendan Maher then. We were both teaching in Limerick.
What was that like?
I tell you, everyone says about Bonner that he's the hardest man ever to train and all this. And he probably is up there, like. But one of the most professional guys I've ever seen is Brendan Maher.
Really?
And like, say, I could tell you so many things that we did or didn't do, but one of the best years I ever had hurling with Tip was after doing a pre-season with Brendan Maher. And that's like small things. I love the old treats and everything like that. Loved a bit of chocolate, all these things. Like, we'd be steaming vegetables. If I brought out the ketchup, it could nearly kill me for putting it on. And DEXA scans coming up and this stuff. But you know what? Like, I was so set. I was so set that year to hurl in comparison to the year before. Let's put it like this. In 2013, around Christmas time, I was living with Brendan Maher, not putting ketchup on vegetables. In 2012, before Christmas time, I was over in Peru in the Wild Rover hostels and all these kind of places.
Right. Yeah.
So that preparation, and maybe that, you know, I think that's a big thing too. And I look back at my own career now, the years I did the best pre-seasons were my best in-seasons then.
Really?
And I think that's evident with the boys nowadays. You see the condition they're in around Christmas time, that they know what's coming like. And it's coming thick and fast. Munster Championship's way harder now. Like.
It's changed now as well, isn't it? Like, you know, you go into, I'd imagine, obviously I'm a junior A hurler, so
so am I now, Cathal, yeah.
Yeah, I still wouldn't like to mark you though, all the same. You know, you go into the inter-county setup now, and you wouldn't be too far behind because of the club senior setup or whatever grade you are in your club. It's up a level above now what it used to be. So when you're going in, you're not carrying that few extra pound, are you? Usually nowadays, anyway.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the thing is, the juniors teams now, there used to be maybe 3 or 4 sets of jerseys flying around, one size for me and one size for another lad, and maybe the full forward is taking a different size jersey. But now it is all tight fit jerseys for everyone, even in junior B and junior C hurling.
So you have to try and fit into it.
This is it, like, and it is gone to another level now. And if you go to the top clubs in the country, they are very, very close to inter-county standard. But I would stress that lads at inter-county, that is a whole other level of stuff. The physicality, they're professional athletes and everything, but name, the way they look after themselves off the field, what they eat, what they do, what they don't do, what they give up. No, it's absolute privilege to play for your county, and it's a privilege to play for Tip. But they are, like, I was even talking about during the week, like what lads are benching, like, I might have been bench pressing 60 or 70 kgs at the best of it, like, you know. But they wouldn't even use that as a warm-up now. They probably go 80, 90, and it's probably up to 130, 140. But the way they're taught how to run now, so everything they're doing is faster. And I was just even talking to Conor there, and I was just saying, I thought in 2014, the first day against Kilkenny, I thought that would be it. That would be the standard of speed, intensity and everything. And I was on the radio last year for the Ireland final, and it's gone to a whole other level. And really? I don't know how quicker it can get, but it has. And it probably will continue to do so. But how much stronger, how much faster our inter-county players can get, I don't know. I'm sure 10 years ago, Kyle, I didn't think it could. So maybe in another 10 years it will. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, one thing with the game changing so much, and I know recently you've been quite vocal about this as well, as how the games are reffed now. You know, we're not long after seeing Tipperary and Kilkenny and 4 red cards in the game.
Yeah.
I think there was 8 across that whole weekend in the league. And as you said, lads are getting bigger, lads are getting stronger. And one of the reasons we're here is, you know, for the development of Tipperary GAA, and that there's facilities that make our underage players bigger and stronger for the future, you know. But it is a sign that things might need to develop in terms of how these games are managed now, like referees, for example?
Yeah, well, like as I said, right, if you think about it, right, so hurling is the fastest game in the world played on grass, right? And in the history of hurling, it's never been played faster than it is now. So I don't think we can still have the same rules and routines or the same way we're governing these games as we had even 10, 15 years ago. Because as I said, just as a player, looking on 10 years ago, it's gone to another level now where they're at in terms of their physicality, in terms of the speed, but in terms of the way that they're using space. It would have been a very 50-50 contest for a lot of our games because that's just the way it was. But nowadays, the utilisation of space, it's very rarely a 50-50 ball. Using space, attacking space if you see it, 3 guys inside, 2 guys inside. And because that space has been used better, the game is quicker, right? So to still ask one person to call everything, now I know the linesmen are there and umpires, I just think maybe it's something we need to change. Maybe, look, we've embraced technology for a lot of things, Carl. Like we've WhatsApp and GPSs and heart screening. Look what the Dylan Quirk Foundation is doing for people nowadays, like, you know, which is phenomenal stuff. And maybe we just need to embrace a television ref.
Is that what you think it could be?
Yeah, I think it could be. I think if the option is there, go for it. Like, and you know what's the worst thing could happen over it? If the game gets held up for maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds. But like, what if you're ruining a lad's whole year because of a call, an incorrect call or a bad call? Or, and I'm not saying use it for everything. I mean, it'll come down to the discretion of the ref. And like, to be fair to them, they're getting a lot of calls right. But for the big calls and some of the big hits that are going in, I just think rather than be reactive to something terrible happening on a hurling field on a televised game, maybe be proactive and say, let's try this. Look at the footballers, they're trying different rules. We can't keep doing the same thing that we're doing and expect different results, I suppose, what I'm trying to say.
What I could see now is in the comments you would see people screaming VAR and
Yeah,
how
but
that's
like,
ruined.
yeah, but I suppose VAR is not used in every league either. Because someone might say to you, oh, you have to bring it into the club and all this. You can't, because it's not used in every league in England. Like.
Yeah.
It's only recently in the Championship. Like. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that. Like, I just think there are a couple of the big calls in the game that a ref should get a help with it. I think the head-high challenges is very prominent at the moment. But, you know, you don't have to call it in for everything, like which way is that line ball going?
Yeah.
Was that a wide or not? I mean, we've Hawkeye for those things. I mean, did he throw it or not? But sure, look, you know, those kind of calls, you don't need a TV ref for that. But maybe use them for the big incidents in the game, like.
Yeah, because it would clear up a lot of the things, the Alan Tynan tackle, for instance. But again, there's discretion in that because
I suppose the intent was there.
Yeah, so it's a tricky
like,
one.
Whether Alan meant it or not, Alan's not a dirty player at all. He's a very physical guy, but I suppose he's going in. I suppose you just don't want to put yourself in a position where the ref has to make that call.
Yeah.
These players will know that no more so than any of us when they look back on the tape of the games and stuff. So I just think the TV ref could be useful for a couple of big calls that have to be made in games, like.
I know the football is kind of, I was going to say they're slow to change, but they're actually so quick with the changes now at the moment. But it's probably something you wouldn't see in this year's championship anyway, would you? Like, would they make a decision like that to have TV refs?
No.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't. No. I think this is something that probably has to go to
Congress.
Go to Congress, get your vote on it. Obviously, you need 2/3 majority. Where you're going to trial it out in, I suppose, is another thing. Like with the football rules, it wasn't a technology side of things. It was more just putting an extra arc on the pitch and the dotted line across the halfway. Whereas I suppose this thing, you know, maybe you'd be looking at maybe bringing back pre-season games or something like that, where you could maybe trial out the TV ref, because it would be hard at college level to do it. Like, you know, just with the finance involved, and like, let's be honest, not every field in the country is going to be able to facilitate this. But I do think for our top level inter-county games in our stadiums, I think it's definitely something that could be looked at. Like.
And in terms of Tipperary now, it's looking good, it's looking promising. Yeah. Obviously it's very early in the season. You know, actually something, the commentary now, and I hear it on your podcast, you know, that some teams aren't really going for the league and other teams, you know, are going for the league. So Tipperary, it's very obvious now that they're going for the league. I would imagine though, as a player, you go out to win every game as it is. Now, you said there'll be a stewards' inquiry in some of the games that you've seen this year. Like, is that, like, have you had experience of being a player and during a league you'd take maybe not the foot off the gas, but you would approach it differently?
Yeah.
Some years.
No, you can't, and I tell you why. It's just not possible I don't think in hurling. Like, because let's say you're getting your chance in a league game and you're on the periphery of the thing, like. So you've no choice but to play well in that game. I just think maybe where it's at now is it's not down to the players. Like the players are given 100% every time they go because they have to, because they know the competition is fierce. No more so than we have with our own lads at the moment. It's absolutely brilliant to see. Like, where I may be seeing is if the game is on a Sunday, what are they doing on a Friday night? Like, and I think that maybe governs how they're approaching that game.
Okay,
so if they're going hard at it on a Friday night, I'm not saying Tip now, but I'm saying other counties. You know, you have a fair idea. You just say, right, well, I don't know how we're going to approach this game now. So if you take the Cork and Clare game that was on at the weekend there, like the body language of the Clare lads and stuff like that, they were just so flat. Like,
you were at the game, were you?
I was at the game doing the radio for it. Like, and
were you allowed to leave early?
No, you're not allowed to leave early. You have to stay on until nearly everyone's gone out of the car park. But it just, for me, it didn't look like a group of players that maybe were really, really up for this game, or were maybe allowed to be as fresh as they could be for the game, if that makes sense. But look, everybody's approaching it differently. I think there has been a little bit of shadow boxing in the last round because maybe one or two teams know their fate and know that what happens regardless, this is what it's happening, whether you're going up or you're going down or whether you're safe. And but I do think that the league this year, to be fair to it, has been the most competitive league we've had in some time, with the jeopardy of 2 going down, 2 coming up. And you get the likes of the Offaly's then that are getting their just reward to be top table, and like what a success story that is. Like, but
and great for Leinster, that
unbelievable. Like, but you talk about facilities there, like what they have there in the faithful fields. I suppose that's where we want to get to in Dr. Morris Park, like, you know. And
is that proof? Is that proof of facilities and good structure underage that, you know, you will see progress down the line?
I think it's definitely a 1%er is what Liam Sheedy used to always say to us about, you know, success. Like, you know, it's all the 1%ers. You mightn't see them all the time, but like, if you look at the likes of Offaly there now, they just have a phenomenal group coming through. Like, if you look at the likes of Limerick, it's just a generational talent. Like, Limerick will probably never see a group of players like that ever again. And like, we had a group there with Noel, with Paddy, with Brendan, with Shamey, with Bubbles, with all these guys that came in, and Bonner and all these lads, and they pushed on the group we had, and they got us to the next level, and we had success because of that group. Like, so like, facilities are definitely a help to all this. But like, I mean, if we take it back to Tip for a second, like if you go to Lockmore Castellini and you go to play a match in Lockmore Castellini, you look at their field and you'll be like, how are these lads just the best year in, year out? Because if you look at their pitch, they have a lovely Astro and every beside it, but their pitch as regards, you know, it's not going to be getting too many mid-finals, like footage like that. But it's the culture they have there. And I think the culture is what dictates everything else then. Like, you know, I mean, you can have all the facilities in the world, but if you don't have a good culture, if you don't have lads with great attitudes coming there, wanting to train, wanting to do their best, you're probably at nothing. But I just think when you look at everybody else in the facilities they have, I think that if we don't do it, it'll be another 1%er towards them that we don't have. And we get these facilities, the players will be there and they'll come and they'll see these facilities, and if a decision has to be made, do I want to keep this thing on or not? Well, if you have facilities like that, you're usually going to sway towards staying at it. Like.
And as you said, Tipperary is a very proud hurling and football. It's a proud GAA county, and if it wants to compete at the top level, which it has been for years and decades, like, it needs those facilities underneath, because as you said, all the other counties now have them. You do a quick Google, and if you type in Centre of Excellence, and you get all these different counties that have their Centre of Excellence, and they look incredible.
Phenomenal, yeah. And even, like, say, we was even down in Mallow a few weeks ago at a game, Fitzgibbon game, and the facilities they have there, and you look at what they have, and you look at what Cork are doing now and where they're going, and the talent that they have coming through. But like, just to have it all as in literally in a centre, like that the gym can be done there, you know. S&C, all your S&C stuff can be done there. You know, your ball wall stuff can be done there. Your pitches can be done there. You're never, you know, if you upgrade the facilities, there's never a night you can't train. Because we all seen recently, I suppose, with like the likes of Storm Owen and these kind of things. It can take a week, 10 days away from you. But if you have the facilities, you have the Astros, and you have all these things, you know, that you can do something, indoor halls, all these kind of things. Like, there's never a night you can't train. And like, I suppose that's where we're at now in terms of this country, that, you know, we are going to get these seasonal storms, like, so, and a week of 10 days mightn't sound much to me in Newcastle, like, but I mean, to an inter-county thing, it could be a block of stuff that they could miss out on, like.
Obviously Dr. Morris Park is where the plans are hopefully going to be in place for something like this if they get the plan. And I know Murta was talking to Brendan about what the different phases might be, and the plan might be if we get the money that hopefully comes in from Winahouse and from the support of the Tipperary people and further afield. But do you remember your first time going in the gates of Dr. Morris?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was probably going up there with the miners, I suppose, and just the coldest floors that I've ever walked on in my life. If anyone knows these old red tiles, it'd be warmer walking on the road out here, I'd say. But
right.
That was always a rude awakening, and but it was just, I suppose you knew who had gone there before you, and there could be sometimes there that the seniors might have been training at the same time as you, or I suppose even back then, our senior camogie team was nearly one of our main teams. The success they were bringing, and everyone would be training, and just watching all these, and then as a minor, then you're kind of you're in awe, going up beside Simple Stadium and stuff like this. But then you go on and you get more used to it, and it's just always great memories, Cathal, to be honest. And then I suppose when you're with the seniors as the year went on, and usually for us it was around that April time, and you got into the stadium, and that was just a whole new lease of life for the whole thing. They'd be training in the stadium, and I suppose because the games are coming so thick and fast, it's harder for the lads maybe to get into the stadium now as much. But again, you go back to, you upgrade your facilities, and you have a top class pitch up in Morris Park that you can do all these things on, and you don't really mind where you're training then. But look, it was great times, great friends made, and even like poor old Pat there, that was caretaker in Morris Park.
Yeah.
We'd have been great, very friendly with him. If any of us were ever going on holidays, there'd always be coming back a few boxes of fags for Pat, or
really,
if things were getting cold, we'd throw him out a coat or a hat or something like that. But
the love for him was unreal.
But he was the kind of guy, if he loved you, and if he didn't, you could forget about getting the best field.
Right, yeah.
But he was a great character, and even a lot of us went to his funeral, and I think that's what those things are about. The GAA is about, as a family. We've seen a lot of people lose people recently. Even Pat Ryan losing his brother Ray. And the amount of people that went to the funeral and the response he got, and I suppose to see him go to the game the following day, how much it means to him. But Pat, go back to Pat in Morris Park. He was a great character, and we all loved him. We had great crack with him as well.
Yeah.
So he'll always be someone you'd remember every time you went to Morris Park.
And just closer to home for you, obviously, within Tipperary, it's a family. The county itself, we treat each other as family in a way until we're all fighting with each other in some way or another. But it must have been fairly special for you. I always dream, right? And even when I was younger. Now I'm still waiting for the phone call. Liam Cahill, actually, if you're watching this, I'm not sure which camera I might be looking at, but my phone is still alive. Okay, so
you can WhatsApp voice him as well.
Whatever you need, the phone is on, just so you know. But I do always dream of, after, for you it was in September, and bringing Liam McCarthy back home. It must have been fairly special to bring him back to Ballynahinch.
Look, I tell you, it really was, Cathal. I suppose I'm from a small place, and there might be 500 or 600 people in the whole parish. So what I always loved about, I suppose, playing in Croke Park, and again, it's not till you step away you realise, I suppose, what it meant to the older people that they could go to Croke Park, see Ballynahinch come up on the big screen when they were announcing the teams, look at the programme, have Ballynahinch on the programme. Place like Ballynahinch, we don't get people on the Tip seniors very, very often. You can count on one hand now, maybe less how many we've had on the seniors. But to bring back the cup, it's a very, very special thing. And even my small man Sean Og is here now today, and 2 girls at home, and you're just looking at them as a parent and how proud you'd be. And I suppose it's until you have kids yourself, maybe you realise what your mother and father goes through at the games. And a funny thing for me was, we were going well at the time, so we would have been playing in a few All-Ireland finals. But after the first one, my mother and father couldn't sit beside each other anymore, because my father said he was either going to kill my mother or he was going to have to leave the match himself, because they were roaring and bawling between the two of them. So, but there was great friendships made then. All the families would sit together, and the likes of the parents became great friends out of it. And you go on a run of success, and they're meeting each other more and more. So my mother and father made great friends over it as well, which was nice, and they'd still be in contact today. But they couldn't sit beside each other at the matches. Oh no, they'd kill each other. I'm sure they're not the only mother and father that way.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of mother and fathers can't even go to matches.
Yeah, when you have kids yourself, then I get why they were so nervous. I get maybe why they couldn't watch maybe the last 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're kind of worried about you. They know what you put into it.
Yeah,
and I suppose they want to see it go well for you. And whether Tip win, lose or draw, I'm sure every mother and father who has a child, son or daughter playing for Tip, they want them to go well.
Yeah.
And they just want to come through it okay. But yeah, look, bringing the cup home, I suppose it's a kind of a, without saying it, like it's kind of a thank you to everybody who maybe coached you the whole way up along, or maybe everybody that kind of believes in you. And especially coming from a smaller place, like, you know, the lads won't mind me saying it, like the lads from Thurles, or, you know, maybe lads from the bigger clubs, Drum and Lochmore and these places, and even Mullinahone going well when they were success, and come up the north end, like Tummy Varas and these kind of clubs. They were just getting more exposure, I suppose. So for me, like, you know, there might be only 30 people go to a Ballynahinch game. There could be 10,000 people go to the county final, senior hurling final. So for me, I suppose I had to take the chance when I got it, and lucky I did. And they were able to bring the cup home then, and as I said, just a kind of a nod of a respect to everybody who kind of maybe helped me to get me that far as well. They're definitely nice things, yeah.
Yeah, you see it as well. That thing of seeing the club up on the big screen. Like I even see it now with Cashel Cormac's, you know, with Oisín O'Donoghue and Owen Connolly.
Yeah.
You know, it does feel special. And last Sunday for the two of them to be starting and on the 15 on a Tipperary senior team was special as a Cashel man. You know, I suppose. Look, we were blessed with your crew, and we were up in Dublin a lot, and great days out, and finals and replays and semi-finals. And you know, it has been a while since we've had a competitive championship game in Croke Park. But there's there's big games coming. And as I said, the reason we're here is for Tipperary GAA. But you know, it is a big thing that we do back the team, both with this fundraiser, with any kind of initiative that Tipperary GAA are doing, and for our teams, both football and hurling. And whether things go right the first and Easter Sunday against Limerick, that you keep on supporting the team, because that's what they need.
Hey, 100%. That's what you need. And look, when things are going well, you know, the fans are there and they'll be roaring you on, and you know, that chant we have, which the words are hard to learn for it, like, but they go along of tip, 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 tip. So, but like,
you're still learning.
It's a great old buzz to be on the field and to hear.
What's that like?
It's look,
because people do take the piss out of that chant.
They do, but sure, look, I think people don't like tip anyway, because look where we are, and we're bordering so many places, and most people hate us. And you know what? I think that's always a good sign.
Yeah.
I think the people, like, you know, without saying it to you, they're like, we hate you, but we do respect you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's always been there, I think, and that was there massively even between ourselves and Kilkenny when year in year out we were meeting each other in some sort of a final nearly. So, but like I mean, the fans, like you do need them. Like, I mean, it was a hard day last year when Cork came to Thurles, and like, genuinely, if you didn't know what was going on, you'd feel that it was Cork's home ground. Like,
it felt like you're on Patrick Street or something, didn't it?
I was doing the radio that day, and I've never asked to do the radio for Tip games, but they were kind of trying something out. Had a lad from Tip, a lad from Cork doing the radio, and it was tough, you know. I was looking around, and it was just all red. But like, to see what the boys are doing there now, to see the honesty they're putting in their performance, to see the heart. Like, you know, we're not old. Although my daughter told me the other day, I am getting old. He said, "You're getting old, Daddy. Your hair is turning silver." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fair enough, Shune, yeah."
Yeah,
but like,
it is getting. But you can be called a silver fox.
It's getting there. That's what I'm going to go with now, anyway, Cathal.
Yeah.
But
stick with that, yeah.
But to see, just to see the performances them boys are putting in, like, and the effort they're putting in, and like, there's more and more getting behind them all the time now. And do you know what? Like, it'd be like, if we to get at now the league, to get everybody really back supporting the lads, because they're giving it everything.
Yeah.
And it's, as I said, not being old, like, but there is something. It's just so proud, like, to wear a Tip jersey, like. And like, if you go down through the years, who's worn a Tip jersey, and if you were one of the people who gets to do it, you're in a very elite club, like. You know what I mean? It's not hundreds of thousands of people. You know, you could fit them all maybe into one big place, like, you know. And if you're one of the lucky people to get to do that, you know it's a privilege. But at the same time, when you run out in Central Stadium and the roar, and if you can get the energy off that, you're just off to a winning start already. But when you come out and if you look around and you see the opposition's colours everywhere, while it's not going to deter you from your performance, if we could just make that blue and gold, rather than red or green or whatever it might be this year in Thurles, that is going to be, as I always say, another big 1%er for the boys to come out, like. And it's just a feeling you get. And when you maybe get that point to go 2-3 up, and you can just feel the energy, you can feel it coming out into the field. And when it's the other way, does it, like, as I said, these boys are so professional, it's not going to deter you, but like, we're all human, like. you know that there is more of the opposition's fans here than your own.
And
so.
that was the thing with Cork last year, I'd say, wasn't it? You know, you could feel momentum. Their crowds, they are booking out trains and selling out trains and all that. And obviously, we don't have that population, but sometimes it's very easy, you know, support a team when they're going well, but it's to support them when they need you on all days, really, isn't it?
Yeah, come here, absolutely. And as I said, our group were lucky, got to a few finals. The first day, I remember the first day we ran out to actually a full house, Crow Park.
What's that like?
That was unbelievable.
Is it?
You couldn't buy it, we were very well prepared in that we would have the sounds of Crow Park playing in Semple Stadium before we would have played the matches. We would have done the parades. We would have done everything.
Out through the speakers, like?
Yeah, done everything as best you could. There's nothing prepares you for full Crow Park. Nothing. And to experience it, and it's just, you want it again and again and again when you get there, and it's just unbelievable, and you just cannot hear, like me and you were beside each other doing the warm-up. I can't hear you, can't hear me, and it does take maybe a couple of games or a bit of time to get used to that. Like Limerick are very, very used to it now. They're very comfortable in that environment, but to run out of the full house Crow Park, and again just to see all the blue and gold around the place, and, and especially if you win, then when they all stay. Like, that's very, very special.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have more of those days this year. If you win a house, you're very close to Thurles here, so you can definitely go to the games. Or maybe if you win the 300,000, you can bring myself and Shane off to every single TIP game that for a couple of years anyway. So, for myself and Shane, we would definitely encourage everybody to buy a ticket to support this initiative, because it's something that Tipperary GAA needs. It's what for the future of the footballers, hurlers, camogie players, every person that's involved with Tipperary GAA. We need something like a centre of excellence. So, Shane, have you bought your ticket?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, are you house or are you money?
I'll just drive down around Cashel now. I'll just see what the facilities are like, and if I win it, I might take the house. I might move down here maybe and move away from the rest of my family for a while. Give herself a bit of time with the kiddies there. So you never know. Could use it as a respite.
I know a good spot. Come on, I'll
show
you a few spots
let's
around
go.
town.
Sound.